Hey everyone, we're here at Techweek 2015. I'm sitting down with Karl Zimmerman from Steadfast. You guys are a cloud hosting provider. And you did a talk yesterday, focused a little bit more on security. And we've talked with a couple other cloud experts the last two days about just the cloud in general, the efficiency, public versus private, the whole range. So, and I usually like to start these off with a single question. Because everybody has a different answer. What do you think the biggest misconception about the cloud is?
Well, biggest misconception is that it is one thing. It's come to the point that cloud means all sorts of different things and different things to different people. Where to me, in the end, it really is simply the outsourcing IT resources in some way. And how that's done is many different ways, and so the ways you have to approach it are very different depending on what the exact solution is. It's not just like a cloud solution. It goes beyond that.
It's not like, all right, we're going to the cloud, here's what we're doing. It's different every time.
Yep.
And in that same vein, what are some of the biggest challenges you think for companies that are looking to transition into the cloud, from maybe an on-premise or multi-host, multi-vendor solution?
Yeah, the biggest issue we've seen is where the IT people either are uncomfortable or feel they're losing control. A lot of it comes around the thought of losing control, where they're used to having the boxes sitting right there next to them. It's like, I know exactly what I'm doing, I know how everything's connected, I know how all this works together. Where for many customers, going to a full public cloud solution is just a black box. They don't know how things interconnect. They don't know how all their systems or things work together. They don't know that if there's a failure, exactly what happens. They know how things are supposed to function and how things go, but there's a difference between knowing sort of the broad strokes and the specifics of how everything works on the back end. And of course, IT guys want to know the specifics. They're not happy with the broad answer. They want the specifics. And honestly too, that's one of the areas where we like doing private cloud solutions, because we can give them all of the specific answers. We can say no, when this box fails, things will fail over to this specific box. If you want to see them in the data center, come in and we'll show you. We can give them that understanding and that comfort. And then when you have that, you feel like you have control again, and then you're happy with those sorts of changes.
And that seems to be kind of the consensus for most of the experts we've talked to, in that even though you're going to the cloud and it's coming out of your hands, you no longer have the racks in your server room and all that infrastructure in your office. It's just a matter of finding a company that, here's the services I want, and here's what I'm expecting. And if you can just be like, here's what we'll do for you, that's going to pretty much alleviate most concerns.
Well, of course, too, even though they are outsourcing it to someone else, it's still their responsibility. It's still that IT director's responsibility. They can't say it was our service provider's fault. It still will go back to them. They need to be comfortable with it, so they need to feel that they have control and they have to feel comfortable with the solution of their provider they're with. So.
And the beauty of it, too, is, I'm sure in your case it's pretty similar to Interroute and Single Hop, who we've talked to. Essentially, you also offer a second line of defense. If the IT people can't figure something out, then they're able to come to you as well, which you're not going to have on an on-premise solution. You're going to hope that maybe Microsoft can help you, or you can find a Linux expert.
That's always what we see as what we see as probably our biggest value add, where it is we're doing this for over 1,000 companies every single day. We have dozens of experts in these areas. A small medium business might have one, two, or maybe three people that do this, and they do it for that one environment. So the only problems and things they're used to solving are what they see in that one environment. Where we've seen it thousands of times. We have, we know how to fix these things. That's what we do. It's the same reasons you hire an accountant and a lawyer. That's what they do. That's what they know. That's what they focus on. That's the same thing in sort of an outsourced IT provider of all types.
It's just always a challenge going from on-premise to cloud. Do you think it's a safe assumption to say that all businesses can be cloud ready, or do they really need to prepare before they make that leap?
There's definitely a lot of businesses that do need to prepare, especially ones that have specific security and compliance concerns. We've definitely had some issues with, sort of healthcare and banking have definitely been two areas where we've gotten some customers in those spaces, but it's taken a lot of time and effort because there's a lot of other types of companies where compliance becomes a big concern. They need to make sure they're checking, every single checkbox is checked before things move over. But even then, that's a great time to go through your general security policies, procedures, and practices anyway. Because a lot of times people feel they can be lax because it's like, oh, all the servers and everything is in our facility. It's like everything's right here. Let's let everyone here have access to everything type idea, where that really shouldn't be what they're doing in the first place. But when moving things to the cloud is a real perfect time to actually go through those policies and see, okay, what is the important data? Who should have access to what? Those types of things.
And when it comes to, you mentioned security and all that, what is probably one of the things that happens with you guys the most when it comes to maybe educating your new cloud customers on the one security thing that they really need to keep in mind because of how different the cloud environment is?
I'll just say sort of in general, the security side is, we so often get customers that are just like, okay, now here it is, and make it secure. And we're like, what do you even mean by make it secure? And sort of have the idea that, oh, you're a cloud services provider, you deal with security for all these companies, you have a general rule set of things that just works. It's like, but there's really no one solution that works for every company. There's rarely a solution that works for multiple companies, let alone for every company. I mean, where the company needs to know that, knowing what their important data is, where that data is, how that data is handled, who should have access to that data, all these things are still on them. They need to know those things, and if they can come to us with that information, then we can help them build the rule sets, the policies, and everything around that. But there's no way your service provider will know what data is important to you, or how, exactly how your custom applications work, things like that. They're not just going to know.
So it's really, really important for anyone looking to move to the cloud to look at what they've got and say, here's what we need. We need to lay this out so that it makes your job easier as well as theirs. It makes everything smooth. It's not just all right, here's what we want, do it.
Yeah.
Here's what we want and how we want it.
Yeah, I mean, and the way we go with all of our customer onboarding is a very consultative approach. I mean, our idea is we're the technical experts, you're not. So it is if you come to us with a general business case and you come to us and say just make it secure, then it's not going to be us saying okay, we will, and that's not the truth, or we're not going to say well, no, you have to. It's the sit down and work with the customer to figure it out. I mean, we feel having the design, engineering, and implementation up front for both the technical solution as well as many of sort of the soft processes, the security processes, is one of the huge areas where we differentiate. So we want to be the experts.
Definitely. And going one step deeper when it comes to cybersecurity as a whole, do you think that, it won't fit in maybe a small business with 3-4 users, but do you think that for maybe medium to larger size businesses, it's a good idea to maybe have a cybersecurity expert?
Internally in the company, I don't really see that being necessary, probably in most cases. I mean, I see that as being a specific enough area of expertise that you should be able to find a vendor or a service provider that can help and assist with those types of things. I mean, I would say security should be the concern of a large number of people inside a company, but I don't really see it as a separate role. I mean, honestly, like a CFO should be very careful about security. I mean, risk mitigation is one of their major jobs. That shouldn't be, we'll offload risk mitigation to someone else. I mean, pretty much everyone in an executive position in a company needs to worry about and care about those types of things.
Exactly. One of the interesting points, you were in that panel with Juniper, which is a very, very solid hardware manufacturer and firewalls. And something you guys brought up was, do we get rid of our physical firewall when we have a virtual one? And the understanding that I came to, that pretty much everybody agreed with, is that you should still have both.
Well, the reasoning for both is they sort of are very useful in different cases. Where the physical firewall will always get you higher throughput. So sort of at the edge of your network where you just need the absolute highest performance possible, put in a hardware firewall. You're never going to get, an x86 box that is going to have custom routing ASICs and switching ASICs and everything in it. You're not going to get packet switching, out of an x86 box like you're going to get out of a hardware firewall. But then, of course, the value of the virtual firewalls is that gives you the flexibility to say, yes, we have the big front-end firewall, but we also have these, certain applications that we can now have a separate firewall in front of each of those with different rule sets without having to worry about having all of those rule sets on one big box upstream. It gives you a lot more flexibility and a lot more control. So it's sort of, there's certainly cases where you can use just one or just the other, but having the flexibility of both just gives you a ton of options.
Which kind of lends itself to how, even though cloud is, it's changing the industry completely in how everything works, we still have the basics that are there. Your physical firewalls, you've still got a lot of the stuff there that isn't ever going to go away, for the most part.
Well, I'd say a lot of the physical appliances are going away, well, getting used less, but not going away completely.
Yeah. You're always going to have switches.
Use cases for all of those things.
Yeah. Awesome. So Karl, thanks for talking with me. Always a pleasure talking with people who know so much more than me about the cloud, because I get to pick your brains a little bit and find out a little bit more. We can find you guys at, is it steadfast.com? .net. If you're looking for any sort of hosting, maybe some cloud expertise to help you and your business out. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram in the description below, and definitely stay tuned to our YouTube for more Tech Week 2015 coverage.